Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the NN classroom. Today I'd like to share with you another specimen question, also extracting from the paper 1. So this will be the question number 3. Actually, this type of question is one of the really classic type of question in the IB question, because according to the regulation in the paper 1, you're not allowed to use the calculator. So that's why the question type now switched to a way that they just give you the expressions, right, instead of giving you the direct answer, because we are not allowed to use a calculator. So supposedly you're not required to calculate the number out, right? For this kind of question, if they give you multiple types of expression, what I would suggest for you for the very first beginning of the skill is don't look at the choice first. Don't look at the choice first, because you will see that there's a lot of misleading trap that is given to you from any three of the given choices, because the answer can only be one of them, and you will see that all of them having similar expressions, right? So what I would suggest is, first of all, we think of it independently for our own expression, and then at the end try to look at the following choice to see which one meets our expectations. So this technique will help us to prevent some of the misleading trap that's given by the choice now, right? So far so good. Yeah, so now let's see what is the question. They say that 5 grams of the calcium carbonate, which is the CaCO3, right, which is given when heated. So now having a decomposition reaction, also known as the thermal decomposition, right? So here just get your background. Normally, this heating process of the calcium carbonate is going to be what we call a thermal decomposition. Yeah, so you see that one compound now break down into 2, right? So what they produce? Produce 2.4 grams of the calcium oxide, so CaO, right? Which is the correct expression for the percentage yield. So here comes in a really major concept and really fundamental in terms of the stoichiometry, in terms of percentage yield of calcium oxide. So given you the molar mass of calcium carbonate is going to be 100, and molar mass of calcium oxide to be 56 as well. And at the end, they give you the expression or the equation for this thermal decomposition, right? So here comes a basic idea first that student must know at the very beginning is what is meant by percentage yield. Percentage yield is given by the actual yield, which is normally given by the question, because actual yield is something that we do the experiment at the real time, and so to see what is actually being formed. So supposedly we cannot work it out, but what we work it out is what we call the theoretical yield. TICL, theoretical yield. So theoretical yield is the expected yield maximum generated because of this 5 grams of the reactant starting, right? So at the end, if we multiply by 100%, so this will give us the so-called percentage yield. So now given that to 2.4 grams, right? So supposedly 2.4 will be our numerator. So our job is to find out what is the denominator, right? Yeah. So technique is, whenever handling this mole concept, what we do first, so this is the first concept that we just finished. The second concept is that whenever we handle the mole concept, what do we do is, first of all, we base on the equation, right? And try to find the 3 steps approach. What are the 3 steps approach? Is that, first of all, we are given the information that is from the reactant, which is 5 grams of the calcium oxide, right? What our target is to find out expectedly, theoretically, how much grams of the calcium oxide can be formed, right? So the technique in this case is always be 3 steps approach. What are the 3 steps approach? First of all, we think of the first step, which is the number of moles. 10 times of the test in this case, always 9 times of it will be testing on the mole calculation, right? So in this case, we better find out the moles from this calcium carbonate. So the technique is kind of simple, because mass over the molar mass, which equals the number of moles. So here we work out the number of moles by 5 over 100. So that is the moles of the calcium carbonate. And the next step, the second step, which is what we call the mole ratio. What's meant by mole ratio? Which is the coefficient in front of any of the reactant and product after the balance equation. That tells us about the molar ratio of how much of the reactant is linked to how much of the product. So that's why by this case, once we work out the moles, we can apply the mole ratio. So do remember that we never do the ratio in terms of mass, because the coefficient here is again mole ratio. We don't make it as like 5 grams now correlate to 5 grams here. So that's wrong, because this is again mole ratio but not mass ratio. So only when we convert the mass to moles, then we can do the molar ratio, which is 1 to 1 according to the balance equation, also 1 to 1, right? So that's why now also we have the 5/100 moles, right? And from this 5/100 moles, the final step, from this 3 steps approach, each step we work back the moles and then work back the mass, right? So from this perspective, we know that again, mass over molar mass equals number of moles. So when we convert back from moles to mass, we just simply multiply. So at the end here is 5/100 multiply back the molar mass of the calcium oxide, which is 56, right? So at the end, we get this as the theoretical yield. And this theoretical yield supposedly is being put in the denominator, right? So all in all, we have this expression, right? Yeah, the actual yield, which is 2.4, over the theoretical yield, which is 5 times 56/100. And at the end, multiplied by 100%. Right, so this is what we expect for the answers, right? Then the next step, what we do is to simplify it, right? So if we do the simplification, supposing that will be 2.4 times 100 from here. Now we switch back, and then also times 100, so that will be the percentage, and over entirely the 5 times 56, right? So this is what we expect for the answers, right? For our own choice, right? So at the end, what do we do from the first skill, where we don't look at the choice at the very beginning, but once we have our own choice, then we try to find back where is our choice that meeting. So at the end, you will find out that the answer goes to B, right?